he just mentioned, my name is Avalon Theisen. I am 12 years old. When I was in 3rd grade, several things happened that sparked my interest and my action. These things inspired me to do something to help. Here's how. I've always loved herps, even before I knew that's what they were called. Herps are reptiles and amphibians, and when I was 8 years old, I started taking classes with a herpetologist named Mr. George L. Heinrich. I thought he had one of the best jobs ever to get to work with things like snakes, frogs, and turtles. It was a perfect match, and now over 4 years later, I've taken a lot of classes with him. But that first herpetology class definitely sparked my interest. Also during that school year, I heard about something called a frog listening workshop. A class about listening to frogs. I had to see whatever this was about. It turns out that every frog in the world has a different call or sound. And if you go to these workshops, you get to learn the frog species where you live. See, frogs are a very important indicator species that let us know about the health of the environment. Even if you can't always see frogs, you can usually hear them. So this frog listening business is actually pretty important, so we all know how the frogs are doing in an area. After you learn the calls, you can report what you hear as a citizen scientist. Even though I was only in 3rd grade, I could be a citizen scientist and help. You can be a citizen scientist too, and even call yourself an official frog listener. Later that school year, I took some citizen science classes at a local nature preserve called Camp Bayou Outdoor Learning Center. I was invited to pick my favorite topic to share at one of their events. Of course, I chose frogs and frog listening, borrowed a frog from my backyard, and I had my very first booth for amphibian conservation. During this time, I wanted to learn even more, and I came across SaveTheFrogs.com and their Save the Frogs Day, which is the world's largest day for amphibian conservation. I wrote a speech for Save the Frogs Day 2010 and presented it to my nature class. All these sparks of inspiration, a workshop, a teacher, a booth, and a speech, were showing me something important. I knew I could be a voice for frogs and the environment and help all living things on our planet, including humans. So why was any of this even important to me? Well, I believe all living things are connected from the start, and I think it is very sad that humans seem to lose their nature connection, something other species do not seem able to do. When people do not believe they are part of the environment, and when they do not think what happens in the natural world affects them, injustice occurs for all living things. The natural world suffers, the environment suffers, and so do people. The human nature disconnection is the cause of many species disappearing and becoming imperiled. Because of this, I promised I would do something to help. I decided I would use my nature connection, along with what I learned about frogs, to help people better connect or reconnect with the environment. When we help frogs, we help the environment and all living things on Earth. And when people feel that connection to the natural world, they are more likely to want to help it, not destroy it. And that means better life for all living things on Earth. So, why frogs? Well, for one thing, frogs are found on every continent in the world except for Antarctica. So they're relatable. And they have been here for millions of years. They're an indicator species, letting us know how the environment is doing. What happens to them indicates what can happen to other living things. They have permeable skin, meaning things like chemicals and gases and water pass through it easily. So if there's something wrong in the environment, frogs are going to be one of the first affected. Here's some more reasons frogs are important. Their tadpoles eat algae, so they help keep the waterways clean. Frogs are also a very important part of the food web because lots of animals eat them. Frogs eat insects, like our little frog in the corner, so they help keep the insect population down. Who really likes mosquito bites? Unfortunately, frogs are disappearing at a very fast rate. Nearly 1/3 of the world's amphibian species is on the verge of extinction. Amphibians naturally go extinct at a rate of about one species every 250 years. But up to 200 species have completely gone extinct since 1980. That is not normal. Here are some examples of some challenges frogs are facing. Habitat loss and destruction, diseases like chytridiomycosis, and taking too many frogs from the wild to sell for things like pets or food trade. As I started learning more, I knew I had to help. When we help frogs, we help the environment and all living things, because what happens to frogs represents what happens to the rest of us. So what can we do to help? It's very important to me that whenever I talk about challenges, that I also talk about ways people can help. These things cost little or no money, and most of them are things that all ages can do, even children. I want all of us to feel empowered with new information and ways to act. I think this is what helps us all feel more connected with the natural world. Here are just a few examples of ways you can help. Stop or reduce the use of pesticides in your yard. Be careful using insect repellent or sunscreen, especially if aerosol or in spray form around natural habitat. And if you have a pet cat, please keep it indoors because a lot of cats have a tendency to like to pounce on small animals like birds or frogs. We live in an area where there are a lot of swimming pools. One thing you can do is provide something so that frogs and other small animals that make it to your pool don't drown. If you're interested in learning anatomy, you do not have to use real frogs. You can use digital dissection or digital dissection software. This is great for kids to ask their schools to use, and it's also a lot of fun. Something else that's really fun for families and groups to do is make frog habitat. All you need is things like PVC pipes, old storage containers, groundwater, or ground cover. Here's an example of some frog habitat a family made after being at one of my frog presentations. As you can see, you do not need a lot of space to make a difference. And of course, you can all be a citizen scientist for the frogs. So now that we know all about frogs, let's go back to the beginning, or at least back to when I was in 3rd grade. Remember some of those things that sparked my interest and my action? Well, since then, my project has grown and is now known as Conserve It Forward, a nonprofit organization. I've shared ideas and information to help thousands of frogs, people, and the environment. I have found my own way to help spark positive change. My first frog booth, with a frog poster and a toad from my yard, has led to interactive booths at places like preserves, zoos, and events throughout Florida. That first one-page speech I wrote about Save the Frogs Day for my nature class has led to 3 years of Save the Frogs Day events for Tampa. That first frog presentation I gave about frogs at a friend's school has led me to be a voice for frogs and the environment in many places. Even literally the voice of a toad on a children's musical pop CD this year called Posh's Pajamas. Going to frog listening workshops has led me to create my own version of a frog listening hike. And now I take people out on the trail too. Just going outside to play, exploring in my yard, has led me to exploring many parts of the United States and other countries so that I can take what I learn to share with others. Making a short video to tell about a toad has led to Nature Tracks with Avalon, a television show I'm now filming that will air soon on the Autism Channel. I will be able to share all kinds of animals, environmental topics, plus ways to help with people around the world. As you can see, many small things happen that spark inspiration, action, and change in me. My actions have grown, and now I strive to spark change in others too. You have to find your voice, and you have to use it. That reminds me of a project I started last year that shows how individual actions, or in this case, voices, come together to make big change. We recorded people making frog calls or frog sounds for amphibian conservation awareness video. We actually had 327 people, one 6-foot-tall frog, and one very happy dog, Croak, in our first human frog chorus. Everyone had so much fun being in the chorus that at some point I started ending my presentations with it. So, since we are nearing the end of my presentation, introducing the TEDxYouth at Tampa Bay's Human Frog Chorus. Now I'm going to teach you 3 simple frog calls. The first is the Eastern Earmouth toad, where you hold your nose so it sounds really nasally and repeat, me. Let's all try. Me. Great. Now on to the green tree frog, where again you hold your nose and repeat, hey baby, hey baby. Let's all try. Hey baby, hey baby. Awesome. Now on to the bullfrog, where you say in a very deep voice, rum, rum, jagga, rum, rum. Let's all try. Rum, rum, jagga, rum, rum. All right, you sound ready. Now, pick your favorite call, and I'm going to count down, and we're all going to use our voices as loud as we can. 3, 2, 1. Croak like a frog. Hey, baby, hey, baby. Great job, everyone. Give yourselves a hand. Way to use your voices. It took all of us croaking together to make that strong chorus of calls. Now, you may not choose to croak like a frog ever again, but I do hope that you remember this. Your voice is part of something bigger. No matter what you believe in, do something about it. Learn, act, and share. Your interests may not even be environmental. It may be speaking out for human rights or developing new technology, but you can make a difference, no matter your age. Find your spark and ignite positive change. Thank you so much, and if you would like to visit me, you can visit me at conserveitforward.org. Thank you so much.